Good day. This is Small Biz David, and welcome to this weekly community meeting of Dreaming with Entrepreneurs in Google+. Typically, we have our meetings on Saturday morning, and that in itself presents some challenges, as everything in entrepreneurship is. Entrepreneurship is about challenges and how we step up to the plate and take care of those challenges. I have a crazy, crazy personal life going on right now. A lot of challenges in my personal life, so I wanted to change to Friday, and with the idea that it might be a regular. So we'll see how folks like having our community meetings on Friday, and we have some exciting stuff to talk about today. I think this is maybe the first community meeting that we have had that we're talking about three different concepts, ideas, all entrepreneurship in its theme, but three different, and I've been calling them case studies because they're different things. So I'm going to introduce our panel today as I see them from left to right. I'm not quite sure how that works. Does everybody, Vivek, on folks' computers, theoretically they could see people in different order, or is there one order that they will see?
I would say doesn't matter, does it?
No, and it doesn't really matter. I'm just kind of curious because I'm going to say, I'm going to go to left to right, and folks viewing might not see it the same way I see it. So, whatever. To my extreme left is my friend Carmen Rojas, who actually, and she didn't remember this, but she has the distinct honor, with me anyway, of being the very first member to sign up in our community. I'm going to guess, Carmen, it was probably about 4 or 5, 6 weeks ago max, and we have almost 250 members in the community now. So welcome, Carmen, and why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and put it into context.
Well, thank you, David. Yeah, at the time when I was new to Google, I was probably joining a lot of communities just because I didn't know what I was doing. So you'll have to forgive me.
You know what you're doing now, Carmen?
I as soon as I think I figure it out, Google changes stuff. So it's always a very slippery term, I think, if I think I know what I'm doing. But I really appreciate this opportunity to come on. My name is Carmen Rojas. I own a consulting group called Rojas Consulting. When people ask me what do, I tell them I'm a digital marketing innovator. I like to come up with new ideas, new strategies, and new concepts for digital marketing. And the new project that we're working on that I'm going to share today is just one example of the things that we do as a digital marketing agency to solve digital marketing problems.
May I make an editorial comment, Carmen?
Sure.
You do a great job with the stuff that you're doing. I follow you very closely.
Okay. Thank you.
Now we're going to move. Wow, today we're especially honored today because we're going to move to the UK, and our next two guests reside in the UK. What a special treat that is today to have first in the center of my screen, Mike Fountain. Ooh. Welcome, Mike.
Okay, I thought I was far right, but hey, I'm not far right.
There it is. You're looking at a different thing. Far right politically or far right?
Not far right politically, far right by viewing only.
Okay.
I hope anyway. Hi. Okay, I was a bit of a surprise. I was expecting to be last. Okay, I'm a coach and trainer, and I say that reluctantly, in that the titles don't really sit comfortably with me. I'm one of these strange people that's just fascinated by people. I love learning about why people do what they do. I've been involved in coaching, mentoring, personal development for 16 years now, 14 of which I've been working as a sole trade doing that. been involved in business coaching, personal development, working with small businesses. Oh, businesses doing from 100,000 sterling up to 27 million pounds sterling, and working with everyday people on the street. And it's purely is how to connect the dots with people, how to make things better, how to understand how things work and how things can be improved. And that just fascinates me in every area of life, and that's what I do.
I guess my major question right now is translate a sterling for me.
Sterling, pounds. So what was 27 million? So 100,000 sterling, 100,000 pounds would be what, about $140,000, $160,000 thereabouts. So up to 27 million pounds sterling or pounds, and which I would imagine would be in and around 32 to 35 million dollars.
Interesting numbers, but your mindset was sterling, not dollars.
Yeah, I mean, all the work that when I first started out, it was all based in the UK. It was all based on traveling to go and see people, because that's the way things were. With the advent of technology, specifically Google Plus, Google Hangouts, it's opened up a marketplace where now I would say 80% of my work now is done on Google Hangouts, working out in the USA, which is an amazing transformation. And I have no need or desire to travel anywhere, and I can do it all from the comfort of my office. It's fantastic.
Isn't that wonderful? I've been doing this stuff, Mike, for over 40 years, and it's amazing to me now how business is conducted, and how we had to do things much differently. To your point, as we were starting and growing, there's been periods of my life when 90% of my day might be on the telephone.
Yeah.
And now, a lot of the world, I mean, a lot of stuff is done on mobile now, but not the same way as we used to do it in the old days.
I mean, the world has changed so much now. It's like when I was a kid. My folks would have known the neighbors or the local business people by face and by eyesight. And we went away from that, and it all became automated telephone systems, and you never spoke with anyone in real life. And now we have this, where we can actually engage eye to eye and make real connections. And that's, for me, that's the best thing ever. I love that. I love the ability to connect with somebody and to understand who they are before working with them. That's so cool.
The truth is in the eyes, isn't it, Mike?
Yeah, it really is.
It's a different way. People, particularly if you're talking on a telephone, and I do remember the very, very early days. I suppose it was probably the late 70s when video phones first came into play. And I remember those early things, and not too many folks really. That whole project failed really early on. It's interesting now how mobile is such an important part of how we do business, our daily lives, etc. So technology is a good thing when it works.
So true.
Speaking of technology, and speaking of technology that works, I'm very happy to have a good friend get involved in our discussions today, and technology is his expertise. Vivek, how are you doing in your part of the UK today?
I'm fine. I had a good meeting this morning. Hopefully things would turn out well. My aim is always to simplify things. If it is not simple enough, then you haven't really understood what it is about. So that's my motto.
So you haven't understood what it's about, or people's minds are simple, or people need simple things with their simple minds to understand what's going on.
Yeah, simplicity is the, yeah.
I think, Vivek, and you and I have known each other for over a year and a half now, and I think that is a very, very common theme of yours, and I heard you say it maybe the first time that we ever met, and simplicity is an extremely important concept in entrepreneurship, in business, because if things aren't simple, people aren't going to understand them, and if they can't understand them, they're not going to buy into whatever it is that that you're trying to sell. So it has to be kept simple. Okay, here's going to be our discussion today. You heard Carmen say that she has a new business idea that she and I have actually done a little bit of brainstorming on. I thought it was great, and I asked her to come and share that idea. Mike and I are going to talk a little bit about some themes of entrepreneurship, and Vivek is bringing a discussion today. He and I had a discussion just Wednesday of this week, and I shared with Vivek a challenge that I'm having right now in my business, and he said, "Well, geez, David, did you think of this? And is that part of what the solution to the challenges?" And I said, "Well, no, to be honest with you, I haven't, but I love the idea." So I've asked Vivek to come and share that idea with us today. So let's start with Carmen.
Well, thank you. What we have worked on and are very proud to finally be putting out is a new project called the Compass Network. And what we've done is taken HOAs and other video casts like the one that we're on right now and moved them to a new website that functions just like a television network. It now takes the whole HOA experience and moves it outside of Google Plus so that everybody in the world can enjoy it. It just removes the barrier of Google Plus from being able to view HOAs and engage and do all the things that we enjoy. I would encourage, I have a little presentation, but I don't think I have time to run through the whole thing, so I'm just going to kind of jump through a few quick points. Signing up for it is very, very easy as a host. All you have to do is, there's a community called the Compass Network Community. It's a private community, so you have to...
Excuse me for 1 second, Carmen. Can you screen share something with us and talk about? Sure. Why don't you do that?
Yeah, let me pull up the site itself real quick and see if
that'll be a good way to explain it.
Okay, and of course it's not cooperating. Hold on 1 second. Forgive my humming. I do that when the computer doesn't work.
There's no need to forgive. That's the way you pass time. That's the way you stay engaged.
All right, hold on 1 second, and I will screen share. All right, let's hope we don't get this lovely infinity screen. Screen share. There we go. Desktop. Start screen share. Okay, what are you guys able to see?
We are able to see the Compass Network.
Great. Okay. So this is the My Compass Network, or it's the Compass Network. You can go to it at www.mycompassnetwork.com. The way we explained it, the way this works is hosts such as David or myself, anybody that's hosting an HOA can either simulcast or provide premium content that runs here on the Compass Network. What happens is because people don't need a Google password or anything else, they can come here, they can click here and start watching shows, or they can come down here, and this will be a scroll that runs and shows what's happening right now on the Compass Network. There's nothing stored. We're not, it's not like YouTube where you can watch old videos. Everything is live. So there may be a few gaps in the day where there's nothing going on, but most of the time we're hoping to have a video of some sort, or an engagement of some sort running, so that people can see whatever it is that they want. The neat thing about it, and I don't know if because we're not running a live show it'll work. Everybody understands kind of how in Google Plus you have the comment tracker that runs underneath, or not comment tracker, but the comments that run just underneath the video. And this is not going to do it because we don't have a live one. But what we've added is a similar element that pulls from Twitter and Facebook. So you're able to engage with your audience via Twitter or Facebook when you invite people and they accept the invitation and they come on, they just click on the little button. It would be on the right-hand side where all these ads are right now, but it doesn't do it during the live show. And they are able to bring in Facebook friends and Twitter friends and stuff like that. So it allows you to engage outside of Google Plus and maintain your Google Plus experience all at the same time. It probably takes just a little bit of practice so that you're watching both, because it won't show up in your Google Plus feed as a host. But again, the ability to attract all of those audiences into one thing just broadens it. It just blows the doors open on what you can do with an HOA. Some of the questions that we've had, if I can just, to just put those out there, concerns about if you have a sponsor, because we do run ads. I would tell you this: we got our terms and agreement basically based off of YouTube. So if you don't have a problem with your video running in YouTube, you won't have a problem with it running here. And if anything, our terms and conditions are shorter than the ones in YouTube. So that's that point. And we just welcome anybody that if you don't have an HOA but you've always wanted to, or you want to learn how to do it, we have some very talented people that are helping us teach people how to do HOAs, so that you can just really broaden the reach of your brand and a truly engaging and double-sided conversation, rather than just running an infomercial where nobody responds to you right away.
Okay, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
So I would do my HOA as I am now doing it,
Mm-hmm.
and if I were a customer of the Compass Network, then it would be simulcast on the Compass Network at the same time that I'm doing my HOA inside of Google.
Yes, that is one option.
Well, that is one option. Explain to me again what another option would be.
Okay, you can simulcast your current show. So, for example, exactly what we're doing right here would also be airing over there in real time, 100% mirror image of what's happening here. They wouldn't be able to see the comment feed, because we can't. That's exclusive to Google, and the API doesn't let us pick that up. But that's about the only thing that doesn't translate over there. Now, the other option would be to do premium content. So it would be, for example, a private HOA like this one that's not airing publicly in Google Plus, but would air on this other network. So we're toying around with different ideas for shows. For example, being able to do things where people buy on the spot, because now we're in a different web page. We can put buttons and links and things like that wherever we want, and track it and have analytics and stuff, because we're now outside of Google Plus. So those types of shows are what we're working on building right now. So we're discussing doing a QVC channel. Basically on there. So people that have a product that they're wanting to sell, they can have their product, they can come on, run it like an HOA, people can click a button, go straight to PayPal, buy a product, and move on. And we think that model will be a lot of fun, and we're looking forward to bringing that to the table. But that would be what's considered premium content. It's not running inside of Google Plus, it's only running on the Compass Network.
So the key to the success of the Compass Network will be your ability to educate folks to come to the Compass Network and watch shows, watch stuff.
Yeah, I think the keys are great hosts that are willing to put their take the step and put their put their shows outside of Google Plus. I think that anytime you're trying something new, there's usually a hesitation. You know what I mean? People want to test the waters. They want to see what's really going to happen. But we all dove into Google Plus, and so I would just ask HOA hosts to just dive in and try it. And then the other side of it is, that is kind of the first question: is will people come from outside of Google Plus and enjoy it? And we think that they will, and that's part of why we're having the premium content, because that's not something you can do anywhere else. You know, you can watch YouTube all day if you want, but you know, it's very hard to get that same level of interaction and instantaneous satisfaction out of YouTube as it would be with this product.
So you're going to get some. Obviously, you're going to get some addition. I'm not talking on behalf of folks who are HOA producers like myself and like yourself. You will get additional eyeballs, if you will, to the production, to the broadcast.
Yep.
So that would be something that potential advertisers would be interested in, that they're getting additional eyeballs.
Mm-hmm.
And you are able to present things in the Compass network that are not available to folks producing inside a Google Plus Hangout.
That is correct. And
okay, well,
if anybody is, you know, one of the questions that's come up is about sponsors. You know, if I go out and I get my own sponsor, how does this work within the Compass network? And I would just let people know that that is something that can be easily accommodated. We would offer that they could sell advertising in the Compass network as well, so that you know, they could become, you know, an affiliate marketer basically of the Compass network and mark up the price of what we charge to run an ad, and their ad runs right next to it. No problem. If they choose not to, you know, obviously I can't stop people from saying my show was sponsored by, you know, the Foot Doctor or whatever, but we just wouldn't run the ad next to it. And again, and as long as you're okay with it running in YouTube, you'd be okay with it running here.
I'm looking to see in the stream if anybody has asked any questions about that. Do our panelists have any questions that they would like to ask Carmen, Mike, or Vivek?
I've seen things similar, not necessarily being used with the Hangouts, but when people have been posting videos using, I can't remember what the software was called, but I know there's software was used about 2-3 years ago, whereby people posting their videos up, which was hosted within that domain. And then buttons would appear at certain points where you could click to go and buy a product. So would the Hangout producer be able to flick a button open at a particular time to have a short window of opportunity to buy a product or to register for a link or for something like that, and then the Hangout producer remove that button?
I think what would in that kind of a situation, you'd probably there would have to be some coordination with us, because I don't know how as you're in the throes of a show, to go back into the admin side of the site and remove buttons and add buttons would be a little bit complicated, I would think, and it would make I don't know how you would do it and keep track of what's going on the show. But we could, you know, we're looking at different ways to time the buttons so that they, you know, so if you know that for the first 10 minutes this button's there, the next 10 minutes, the last 10 minutes, you know, so we're looking into that. There's also just, you know, if you just let us know as a host, hey, this is what I want to do, can you help me? You know, I would love to test drive that and see if we could just have, you know, somebody on our end being there to flip the switch. You know, there's a code term or phrase or, you know, something like that. We change the button and it changes. The problem would be that I don't think the button changes unless the page is refreshed. So the viewers would have to kind of refresh the page. We'd have to play with that. I think that, you know, timing the buttons would be a challenge, but I think we could, the way I see it, there's nothing, all it takes is the right code. Yeah. We just have to figure out what it is.
All my thoughts are, you can just, you know, how can you add scarcity? So I know people do use scarcity in marketing and sales specifically, that there's only so many available, or they're only available for a certain time. Again, especially if you're doing like in a QVC kind of scenario where the price increases when the product numbers drop. So I was just wondering, you know, how can you facilitate something similar to that?
You know, we're working on that. That's why it's not out right now. because we haven't figured out all of the,
Okay.
all of the answers to all the questions. But it probably won't be identical to QVC. Obviously, they've got trademarks and whatnot.
Yeah.
But the concept of having somebody there with a business owner that has, a product that happens to be on my table. I'm selling little gold trains. You can buy your little gold train if you click on the button right now. They click on the button. They can buy, like I said, go straight to PayPal. They can take care of it there. How we'll do that, we have to work out those kinks, but I think we're getting close to figuring it out.
And there might be a day too, Carmen, if you are not if when you build up a big network of viewers, that you sometime you might be interested in buying great content supported by the advertisers that your network is able to go out and get on its own, and you say to an advertiser, we'll deliver 10,000 impressions. So you have to then figure out how to deliver those 10,000 impressions based upon the content that you're showing on your network. Interesting concept. Very, very entrepreneurial. And you know what? If anybody can figure it out, Carmen can figure it out.
Well, thank you. I'm not the coder. I have to give a lot of credit to our the web developer, which is Lee Johnson, has a group called Red Group out of South Africa, actually. And he's the one that's done a lot of the back end side of this. And so he takes my ideas and codes them. So he's a very talented guy if he can keep up with my ideas.
Well, you better watch out because you got another code. There's a coder on the panel right now. Okay, well, thank you very much. It's a very, very entrepreneurial idea, and I am always excited when I see folks come up with creative concepts that it's about marketing. The bottom line is how well can Carmen market the concept, and the fact that you've developed a lot of friends inside of Google Plus Hangouts. That's certainly a good foundation on which you can build. So anytime you want to come back, Carmen, and talk about a progress update to what's happening, please feel free to contact me, and we'll get it going. Okay?
Sounds great. We'll definitely do that.
Okay. Well, let's move over to the UK from Maine, and let's talk with Vivek. And Vivek, why don't you share the concept that you and I discussed earlier this week, and I'm going to get into it. We're going to figure out how I'm going to get into it, but you've got my imagination, you've got my mind on it. So why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
It's
Keep it simple.
It's a simple concept. Yes, it's essentially your event pages. People don't use them as well as they should. Even the I would say even the highly successful, if you can call them that, people who have a huge following and so on, even they don't seem to be doing this. So they're not using the event page as they should be. The problem I see is event page is created in Google's server somewhere, and probably it can be accessed through your profile. So anyone who comes to your profile can look at the events that you had. But simplest thing that you can do is to embed the event page onto your website. So Google actually provides the code, simple HTML fragment. It's a fragment, not the entire code. It provides you the HTML fragment You need to copy that and put it on your website. When you do that, and you go on to anybody comes to your website, they can see all the event pages.
You want to can you screen share something with us, Vivek, to show us exactly what you're talking about?
Yeah, I can.
I knew the answer to that question, but because I've seen it.
Can you see this screen?
Not yet. There we are. Now we can.
Yeah. If you blue box me or pin me, as it is called now.
You're pinned.
Okay. Here you see the yeah. I can still see you, David, on the screen, but okay.
Well, I've got you pinged. I've got you white boxed.
Okay. So this is a article written by Mark Trapegan, and this is actually an event which you did, David. This is your interview. You interviewed me a while ago, and this is an event there on my web page now. So there are quite a few. I can scroll down. There are quite a few of them like that.
Wow, Ronnie Bincer plus that one. That must have been a good one.
And the advantage here is, if I click there, you see the comments.
Yep.
And this is true for anybody. Anybody can come onto my website, look at this page. This is under blogs and G+ blogs. They will see this. They can go through the events, my past events. They're all in one place. They can comment. And when they comment, this comment actually goes on the Google servers. So the commenting, the coding, all that is actually handled by Google itself. Now, if I click this play button here, this will start playing. It's the video of the event that we had. So all of that is available in one place. The point is, if you have hundreds of events that you had so far, you can put them all in one place. You can see, and since they are all pointing to your website, that's the critical part. Since they all are pointing to your website, whoever is interacting with those event pages now will be interacting through your website, which means Google will start looking at your website in a slightly different way, as in, yeah, people are going to David's website. Oh, so David must be important. Yes, he is, but
yeah, David's very important.
Google is yet to realize that, but yeah, so that's Google, the point, yeah. And it's actually quite easy to do that. And here, another thing that this is true on my website, all these buttons you see here, this is a Google Plus share button. You can share this on LinkedIn. You can tweet about this. You can share it on Facebook if you want. So all those things are possible through that. But this is slightly different. This is not. This does not happen automatically. I have had to install something. But this embedded page, this part here, that's, for example, this is an article by Mark Trapegan, and there are 173 comments there. This is from his article. So all these comments by prominent people and you can be commenting in there. And it's a simple concept. In my view, it's very useful, and it does need a bit of coding knowledge. So not much, because most of the work is done by Google for you, and you need to know how to incorporate that HTML code onto your website.
Wow. I'm indeed honored to be parallel with Mark Traphagen. First time ever, Vivek. Thank you. Don't show that to Mark, though. It's an interesting concept, and I am. Well, let's tell folks, how we actually got started to talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
I have told you that Dreaming with Entrepreneurs right now, I used to have a website, dreamingwithentrepreneurs.com, and I put it to rest a couple years ago as I wanted to market another theme of my company, of what I was doing, but I am building the brand Dreaming with Entrepreneurs inside of Google, and as I've built Small Biz David, as I've built my own name, now I'm in the process of building Dreaming with Entrepreneurs brand, and so I am looking to bring that website back. And I had the website, I think I last used it, I'm going to say 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago. And things were different 5 years ago. The decisions that I had to make 5 years ago are different than the decisions I need to make today. And so I'm trying to figure out not just the most economical way to do it, because let's not kid ourselves. Websites are different today than they were 5 years ago. No ifs, ands, buts, or whys about it, number one. Number two, you and I have discussed the concept that I don't look at what I'm doing as a website. I look at what I'm doing as a community of landing pages. So the fact that they may or may not land on dreamingwithentrepreneurs.com, that may or may not happen, but what I want to happen for sure is landing on a page through marketing, like we would do anything else, dreamingwithentrepreneurs.com / whatever we call that landing page. It might be the name of the individual, it might be a brand, it might be a marketing concept, it might be keywords that Google loves. I mean, there's all kinds of possibilities. So my objective is to build a community, dreamingwithentrepreneurs.com, community of landing pages. And Vivek, I'd like to have 10,000 landing pages in that community. You think you can help me build 10,000 pages? Carmen can give me some pages to do. Mike can give me some pages. We'll get it. So it's Carmen.
I can help you with the technology.
Okay, but I'm the marketing guy, right?
Yeah.
Carmen, Mike, do you have any questions of Vivek?
No, I think it sounds really interesting. I didn't know that you could. I knew you could obviously pull video. I just hadn't heard about pulling the comments. The posts. I think it's really cool.
Well, what I really like about Vivek's concept, and I've been talking about this, and Vivek now has a solution. I've been talking about this for 3 or 4 or 5 months now. People do not use their event pages within an HOA to their maximum capability. An event page is a landing page. An event page can be kind of the front page to a website. You created the event, you marketed the event. A lot of event pages today have a life cycle of maybe a week after that event is over, depending upon the content, depending upon how you market it. but an event page can last forever if you do it right. It can become the source of a daily blog, bringing people back to that event page so they can see all the discussion that has evolved up until that point. And that's really how Vivek and I got into this discussion, how to effectively use your event page and create as long a shelf life, long a life cycle as you possibly can. Does the concept make any sense, Mike?
Yeah, I like it. I like it on two factors. It works because it's a reactivation tool. So how do you get people who've actually been looking at past events? So when you're closing, say, this Hangout, you can say, I'll go to my website, I'll go to this page, and that's where all the other pages are of all the other Hangouts you've had. So that's fantastic because that drives traffic back to the website to look at other stories, other interviews, other Hangouts and stuff you've done. And secondly, because you're able to put the comments into it, it also enhances engagement. So in terms of even giving the social proof of how many views that you have for your viewer numbers, it's improving that. So you become more important to Google because there's more people engaging with you.
I was waiting for how long it was going. Google loves the concept. They have to. They love the longevity of keeping something going.
Yeah. So in terms of how it does that, it's fantastic because it's outside of Google, but it still is Google. And if you use it as a Hangout producer properly, and you can even then integrate that with what Carmen's doing, so you can bring both of those facilities together. So you can be having a Hangout show on different platforms, bringing them all together, directing them back to your own website where you got all the other events. You can get more comments, and it's just bringing everything together over and over again.
Are we creating a powerful tool by bringing members of our community together to collaborate, small business collaboration?
Yeah.
That's an awful idea.
That's what it's all about. Well, Vivek, you and I have more discussing to do. We'll pick up on it on Monday because other things are interfering with it right now in my personal life. But we will. I love the idea, and Mike, you have the insight to see that what Carmen was doing or thinking and marketing and creating, what Vivek has created, they can be tied together. They should be tied together.
Yeah. It makes perfect
somehow.
sense.
Because that's that continuity. And that's what Google loves. They love that, and I can say that because I've watched my own personal evolvement within Google and how they react to the things that I do. I have I've got 750 YouTubes out there right now, and I started doing YouTubes when live streaming wasn't. Well, I had a live streaming situation going on a website. The website closed down, just closed down. No advance notice. Within 24 hours, I was doing the same thing in YouTube. I was bringing the content that I was doing and creating YouTubes. So I did that, and then when HOAs came along, I said, "Wow, Google's making my life easier. Now I can do an HOA, get the value of putting that in my stream out front. It automatically becomes a YouTube, so it enhances my YouTube presence. Then when I embed the code, I take the code from that YouTube and put it on my website. I've got the triple play going."
Yeah.
And Google absolutely loves that triple play. Now when you Google search for Small Biz David or my name or whatever, there's 10,000 search results out there. and this tool will even enhance what I'm doing, because I see some value, additional value to what I'm doing with what Vivek is presenting. So thank you for sharing that with us, Vivek. Okay. Wow. Michael, how are we going to begin our discussions on entrepreneurship?
See, I kind of feel ill at ease now because I don't make anything. I just connect dots with people. I can't do coding or do anything else. I just listen to stories and I go, well, okay, well that fits with that, so why not do it that way? Or I listen to people and I go, well, okay, well that's not a problem. It's what you're thinking is the problem. So I kind of think, okay, what what value do I bring here?
Your success as a business coach rests upon your ability as an entrepreneur to understand all of these things that are going on, so that as you talk to your folks, to your clients, you say, well, geez, did you ever think about doing this? Because if you pull these things together, then you will enhance your positioning in the marketplace. And I suppose that's the biggest challenge you probably have as a business coach, isn't it, Mike?
Yeah. Yeah. The biggest thing, okay, I think what I consider the biggest strength is, for what I do, is it's the objectivity to sit back, to shut up, to listen, and to allow creation to occur in my mind. And it doesn't matter how ridiculous it is, because there's people out there like Vivek and Carmen, you can create. I can come up with ideas in my mind, but I need other people. It takes other people to take those ideas into some kind of fruition. So it's very easy to sit down and go, okay, well, I see how you can combine that with this to create something. But that's just the ability to sit back, to shut up, and to listen, and to allow that creative juice just to occur.
You mean you're a coach? You're a coach that listens to the problem before you offer. What a novel idea, Mike.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. I always thought, See, as I said earlier, I'm a reluctant coach. I'm a mechanical engineer by trade, so I've learned, and again, I have a background from the armed forces, so I was in the armed forces for 14, 15 years. So everything to me has a logical process, has a starting point and a finishing point, and in between everything, things have to happen in a certain way to get that outcome. So that outcome is always predictable and is always what it is meant to be, whether that's coaching or a machine or anything. There has to be a process. I'm also an athletics coach, so I coach runners, and again, I go through the same process with that. Running is easy. Running is simple. It's just about understanding the mechanics of running, and then it's just training to develop that. So it's very easy. When I first started out in coaching, to answer your question, David, is when I started out, there were a lot of coaching organizations, and coaching was prescriptive. Coaching was, I will tell you what to do without actually having had the experience. And one thing I learned from one of my very early mentors was just sit back and listen. Let them tell you what their problem is, because what the challenge or frustration they're experiencing is deeper than what they actually say. And you're not listening to hear what they say, you're listening to hear what they mean. And from that meaning will come the solution. So I learned many years ago just to sit back, to listen.
You can't be a good business coach unless you listen, until you have a good understanding how they operate, what their mindset is, how they attack a problem, how do they get in. Just like you can't do a good job in coaching a runner till you watch them run, and you look and see and talk to them. Okay, why did you do this? And what did you do here? And I'm always amazed at those folks that are the big consultants, and they have solutions to the problems before they truly understand what the pain is.
Yeah.
I like to tell a story. It was in the last year and a half that a very, very large company somehow picked up on the YouTubes that I was doing, as a matter of fact, and they came to me. A salesperson called me up, and before they even asked me what my business strategy was, what I'm trying to accomplish, it may very well be that okay, I've got this strategy, and my plan of execution isn't working right. It may very well be the situation, but they never asked me what the strategy was. And they came while we were on the phone in the very first conversation. They ran my domain, and they came up with an automated analysis of my domain, not even asking me why is that. They weren't even using my right domain. and how much trust and confidence can I have in a company that, and they're absolutely one of the leaders in the industry at what they do. I wouldn't embarrass them by mentioning their name, but that was the approach that they took, and I still get emails from them about once a month. Here's an update to an automated update. Not even knowing what it's amazing to me how well I'm doing, and not even trying to do what they're measuring. That's an amazing thing to me.
Yeah.
Okay, I think let's get into. We don't have a whole lot of time right now, and Mike, we'll get back together and talk about it. One of the objectives of our community, very clearly. One of the other members of our community has taken a very great interest and presented to me something that I should have come across myself a long time ago, and I never did. And he brought it to my attention. It's called the Lifelong Entrepreneurship Education Model, developed by the Consortium for Entrepreneurship Education. Interestingly enough, in real life, developed 100 miles up the road from where I'm sitting right now. And so as I got into it, I said, well, we're all about education. Not only of existing businesses and how we can collaborate with one another to help each other move forward, but as important as that concept is what's the future of entrepreneurship? And, I like to say, in this country, and I need folks like you, Mike and Vivek, to help me along what's happening, in the UK, because now that Google has, it's global. People all over the world in every time zone can be watching, listening, what we're doing right now. If not in the live version, certainly in the recorded version. So we've got this great melding pot of ideas and thoughts that are cutting across every time zone there is, but the challenge is I don't know what is going on in the UK in terms of small business and entrepreneurship. Vivek has told me a lot of things along the way. Matter of fact, he shared with me about a month ago a huge frustration that he had. So we kind of talked about it from my perspective of doing business here, and that's the beauty of what we're doing. But I think the beauty of entrepreneurship is that there are some basic concepts that aren't going to change no matter where you are. The application of those concepts are going to change based upon where you are and your access to technology or your access to whatever. But Mike, I'm going to read my definition of entrepreneurship, and it actually is coming out of a book that I wrote chapter 23 in this book, Business Strategy for Explosive Growth in the New Economy, and I was very, very fortunate to be involved in that. Pardon me?
With Brian Tracy.
I was very fortunate to be involved with Brian Tracy in that project, and through that project, I actually got to meet him and had 30 minutes with him one-to-one. What a wonderful experience that was. But my definition of entrepreneurship, I've read many definitions, and this comes from page 205, chapter 23, which I wrote in this book. I've read many definitions. I've heard a lot of people philosophize about it. The most impactful statement or interaction that I've ever had about entrepreneurship is with an organization called the Kauffman Foundation. They are the foundation of entrepreneurship. I strongly urge any entrepreneur to visit their website. Quite honestly, this was written 4 years ago, and I don't know if that website still exists, but it was buildastrongeramerica.com, and take this entrepreneur's pledge. Well, I about every 6 weeks I read the pledge, and I'm going to read it not today. I'm going to read it soon. I'm going to read it next week. But Mike, if you've never seen the pledge or heard me read it, actually, if you go to my YouTube channel, Small Biz David,
Okay.
it's the lead video on the Small Biz David channel. It explains entrepreneurship like I've never seen it explained before, and it touches me every time I read it. And so, having said that, I think, and you know, I presented to the community 11 different questions, and they were kind of general questions. What is entrepreneurship? Why is it important? What needs to be accomplished? When's the best time to pursue it? And let's you and I spend a couple minutes. I think we actually addressed already problem solving. We've talked about it already a little bit.
Yeah.
How important that is to entrepreneurship. Well, we won't talk about. You want to talk about growth, or do you want to talk about do you understand you? I'll let you pick the one you want to talk about.
Okay. Okay. I like do you understand you?
Okay, let's go at it.
I do like that. That's where I'm not more comfortable there, but I find that more of an intriguing question. Because I've met so many entrepreneurs over the past 8, 9 years, and it's interesting to see how entrepreneurs get into being entrepreneurs and what it is that drives them, what guides them. Some of them do it because they have to, because they lost a job. Some people do it because they have a passion, or they believe they have a passion, or they want to go and serve other people, or whatever it may be. But it's always fascinating to dig down into the who they are as people, as in who you are. And I think the one thing that comes out for those who are true entrepreneurs, and they're doing it for the right reason, they're doing it because they're there to serve. They're there to serve other people. They have something, a product or a service or an idea that they believe 100% that what they do or what they have to offer or to serve in any way whatsoever will be of benefit to other people. And I think who you are as an entrepreneur, who you are, what it is that drives you, is that willingness, or I use the word wantingness, which isn't even a word, the desire to help others, the desire to get out of your fear, out of rejection, out of all of that. And it's not even about reward or success at the end of the journey. It's about the willingness, the desire to get out there and actually to share what it is that you have with others. And that to me really is who you are as an entrepreneur. I can't remember how you phrased your question properly, but what it is that you are is the willingness and absolute desire to share what you have with others in the belief that it'll help other people.
And your ability to properly communicate that message, and that's where a lot of folks fall short. And back to Vivek's early statement about simplicity, you've got to keep the message simple to get people's attention to begin with. And I think that I love the concept of the 60-second elevator speech or the 30-second. I even like the 30-second better than the 60-second because it's half the time. And how do you capture somebody's attention in 30 to 60 seconds? If you're given 30 seconds of time, and I guess that's why it's put into an elevator, because it takes an elevator a certain amount of time to travel. If people are searching for you on the internet, as a website, you've got about 6 or 7 seconds to capture their attention. And
Yeah.
so if you've got 30 seconds or 60 seconds, you really have to keep it simple, keep the idea intriguing.
Yeah.
Let's give people a reason that they would want to talk to you about what it is that you do.
Yeah. I think even within that, it's the passion. It's the passion people have. If you go and you meet somebody and they have passion behind their voice and they're passionate how they describe what they do, you can't help but be curious. It's that thing where you speak to somebody and if somebody goes, "Oh, I'm a web developer," and you go, "Oh, okay, well, that's interesting." Or you go, "I'm a web developer and it's awesome. I love it. It does this and it does this, and you get to do these things, and you meet all these people, and I help you connect." And all of a sudden, you're drawn in because of their enthusiasm. And that, to me, again, is what entrepreneurism is. I agree with you. You need to have good marketing. A lot of the entrepreneurs I've met, there's three things I believe you should have, and I heard this earlier this week, reiterated to myself again. You need to have an outstanding product. You need to have outstanding marketing. And you need to have outstanding money management. Unfortunately, the truth being is there's not one entrepreneur alive that's good at all three of those things. That's why the greatest organizations...
Do I hear a challenging statement?
It's a true statement, I believe, David. The best organizations were built in collaboration because there was an idea person, there's a great idea person there. Equally, there's a great person there who understood marketing, who could market the business better than somebody else, or would raise objections. So you'd have two people coming at it from opposite ends of the same spectrum who would challenge each other, so they'd have to think differently. And then equally, you'd always have somebody there who would have better grasp of the money management side of it.
Okay, I got to ask Vivek a question. I'm going to take one of his two favorite entrepreneurs.
Yeah, go on.
Okay, you know which one I'm going to pick, Vivek?
No, go on.
Stephen.
Oh, mm-hmm. Yeah.
Based upon what Mike just said,
Mm-hmm.
That an entrepreneur needs three things. Take Stephen and talk about the three things and see how he measured, in your mind, how he measured up to those three things.
Yeah, he was a good marketer.
And we're talking about Stephen who?
Steve Jobs.
Oh, there we go. A good marketer.
He was a good marketer. He was a great idea person.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing he lacked was understanding the technology.
Oh.
And he had another Steve help him, Steve Wozniak.
Yeah.
So that's why they had such success.
Yeah. But back to the money thing, Mike, and I kind of have to laugh. I think, thank God, Stephen was able to, before he died, literally, I think it was about 3 weeks before he died, Apple was the most valuable company in the world, based upon outstanding shares and cost, what the shares were worth. And he was able to see that in his lifetime. You think he had money managers along the way?
Yeah, I would imagine. I hope so. Yeah, I mean, Steve Jobs is a fantastic example. I mean, what he did with Apple, from when he lost Apple, went away. It was a Pixar, wasn't he? Opened up, and then he brought Pixar back to Apple because what he'd learned. But it was Steve Jobs had the vision, had the ideas, but he also built the team around him. Same as Richard Branson. Richard Branson is I have a friend of mine whose best friend actually sits on the advisory board with Richard Branson.
Really?
Richard Branson,
wow.
Yeah. And he goes, Richard Branson's a crazy man. He comes in and he has these ridiculous ideas. And he goes, you can't be in that panel and say, you can't do that. Because if Richard thought of it, he will want you to find a way to make that happen. And if you haven't got the technology yet, he wants you to go and design the technology or find the technology. Find someone who can. So he's an idea guy, but he has a team around him who makes it happen. Interestingly enough, in Richard Branson's book, his autobiography, in his first 2 pages, he doesn't mention the word I once. It's we. 32 times we did this. There's no I.
There's no I in we. Well, it's a great point, and I remember one of the lessons that, well, do you understand you? And I'm going to relate a personal experience in my life where I truly understood me, and I had to make one of the toughest business decisions I ever made in my life. I had started a magazine from zero, an idea in 1978, and in order for me to actually deliver that magazine, I needed a staff of 15 people. So I had to go out and raise the money to get a staff of 15 people going. And inside of 11 months, we actually made a profit on the 11th magazine edition that we produced, that we published. And so it was a proud thing. I mean, to see, now it was the first month of profitability, but it came in the 11th month. And to do that as a business and to do that as a magazine spoke very, very well of the organization. It wasn't, I couldn't have done it myself. I needed the organization of 15 people to do it. Well, as I was evaluating what it was going to take to go into year 2 of the publication, I was really realizing that I loved what I did well and what I did in the magazine. I didn't love all the things that I had to do to make the magazine work. And I was spending too much time doing non-productive things in my mind to move the magazine forward. I was dealing with personal issues of the folks, of the 15 folks. They'd come into my office and say, "Hey, I'm going to be late on my car payment. Can you help me out?" kind of thing, and they were contributing to where we were going. So I had to figure out a way to make that happen for them. So I made the decision, Mike, after 11 months, that I was going to cease the publication. And it was one of the hardest business decisions I ever had to make because we were absolutely headed in the right direction. But I understood me. Back to why I'm telling this story. Do you understand you?
Yeah.
And it's a great thing that folks need to understand.
Yeah. And it does make the point I was making about how the Bransons and the Steve Jobs, etc., that none of them had those 3 core skills, but they knew who they were. So they brought people in around them to facilitate the vision that they had, the business they needed to create. As an entrepreneur, we don't have all the 3 skills. My other half, Catherine, she's a marketing manager. She used to work in banking in the UK before we had kids. So her mind thinks very differently to mine. I'm a talker, I'm a problem solver. I love it the best when I'm in amongst 5, 10, or 50 or 200 people and I'm presenting or talking and there's an objection. But you can't do it that way. That to me is like gold dust. It's like, what do you mean you can't do it that way? Why can't you do it that way? And I love to go into the whys they believe they can't and to seek solutions or to create solutions. Now, I love that dynamic. Catherine, on the other hand, she hates that. She's very methodical. Everything has to be written very crisply, clearly, very outlined, very defined, doesn't like confrontation. I'm the other side of that. Equally, I need to have someone who has better money management ideas than I have to make this work. So I know who I am and what I do. I equally know that in order to be successful as an organization, as a business, I need to have people around me that have better core skills. It's like Henry Ford. Henry Ford, the story goes, Henry Ford was in court at some particular point, and he was asked a question, I think it was to do with money or something like that, and he goes, he didn't know the answer. And he goes, but I'll call the person who does. But when he turned around and goes, I don't know the answer, the lawyer who was fighting against him was up in arms going, oh, you're incompetent, you're a fool, you're all this kind of stuff. And he goes, no. I don't need to know the answer. I have the business. I employ people who know the answers. He doesn't need to know everything himself. It's about knowing, again, it's answering your question, it's about knowing who you are. It's about, okay, maybe the deeper level, it's about understanding what drives you, where your key skills are, getting out of your fear, out of your thinking, doing the thing that you're best to do, not trying to be the jack of all trades. There are, as we've had on the show, we've had fantastic people in Carmen and Vivek. They have skill sets that I do not possess. Equally, you have skill sets I don't possess. If you put us all in a room together and you said, here's a business that we're going to go and create, how do we create it? I couldn't do anything that you could do. I could sit back and I could listen, I could come up with objective opinions and maybe different ways of creating solutions. Vivek and Carmen could create those solutions digitally. You could market those solutions. You could create the business that worked around that. And maybe we need other people in to make it work. But it's just understanding who we are and what our strengths are as entrepreneurs.
So we're going to brainstorm in the green room with a new idea?
I would love to. Unfortunately, guys, I can't stay because I've got to go running club. I'm coaching in 15 minutes.
Well, we're going to end this. We have gone... We've got way longer than an hour.
Yeah, I have a question, David, if I can.
Yes, absolutely, and then we'll conclude. So Michael can go on and do his coaching.
Yeah,
thank you.
It's actually the point number 10 on your list there. Do you understand growth concept?
Yes.
Can you? Yeah. I don't know what growth concept is.
Oh, the growth concept is, well, it's an entrepreneurial mindset, and we won't. I'm not going to spend a lot of time. And maybe this is what maybe Mike and I can kick off our next discussion. But the growth concept, well, I think it's best described by another individual with whom I've been blessed to be able to go one-on-one with, a gentleman by the name of Michael Gerber, and he has written 25, 30 books. And he was the one that came up with the entrepreneurial myth, the E-myth, which was entrepreneurial
fantastic
myth.
Book.
And Mike, I thought about him as you were speaking because he talks about the engineer who is a great engineer, has great ideas, but tries to be a small business owner and is sometimes not successful.
Yeah, the technician.
Yes, absolutely. That's a Michael Gerber original concept. But Vivek, back to your question of growth, Michael says in one of his books, The Most Successful Small Business, it's rule number 10, or no, it's actually rule number 1, that the entrepreneur, unless they can see a growth concept of 10,000, whatever that means, growth concept of 10,000, that will make for a successful business. If you don't have the vision to see that growth of 10,000, then maybe it's not a very good idea. And maybe that's a good, thank you, Vivek, maybe that's a great kickoff to the next discussion. We'll talk about growth. I'll read from Michael Gerber's book. Mike, do you want to be another Mike in that discussion?
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'd like that.
Okay, we'll do that. Well, gentlemen, and Carmen left earlier. Thank you, Carmen. Thank you, Mike Fountain. Thank you, Vivek, for taking time out of your schedules to share your understandings of what it means to be an entrepreneur and the challenges that we have. I will have to say that the approach that I took today with the community meeting was different than I've taken in the past, and I loved it. I loved what we did today, and thank you, gentlemen, for being a part of that. And we will continue. We will go on. And we're, Mike, I'm going to market the living daylights out of this HOA.
It's fun. I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much for having me on. And Vivek, it was great to meet you as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Always a pleasure to introduce folks that live maybe in close proximity to one another.
I have to go. I have to get changed for running.
Okay, well, you go. I want to say to our folks, thank you for taking your time, and we'll see you the next time, which may very well be the best time